For more than a decade, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen has stood between Barcelona's posts like a steadfast lighthouse, guiding ships through stormy seas. His glove-clad hands have weathered countless storms, from last-minute saves under a roaring Camp Nou to penalty shootouts that sent the city into delirium. Yet, after 10 years of loyalty and shared triumphs, the bond between the German keeper and his beloved Catalan club has begun to crack like aged marble under rising pressure. The spark for this schism wasn't a blown save or an errant pass. It was the quiet arrival of a new name on the roster, Joan Garcia. You can almost feel the locker room air grow cooler, the murmur of whispers trailing in Ter Stegen's wake as the young Spaniard claims the starting spot for next season. The once comfortable chemistry between player and club now feels as fragile as glass, beautiful, but dangerously close to shattering. What comes next will test loyalties and legacies alike. And it leaves fans wondering, who really holds the keys to Barcelona's future? If the arrival of Garcia wasn't enough to unsettle the veteran's world, the winds shifted further when Wojciech Szczesny quietly stepped in as Garcia's backup. Imagine two rising waves crashing against Ter Stegen's once unshakable position, each one pushing him a little further from the crest until he finds himself stranded on the shoreline of Barcelona's hierarchy. The experienced German, once the undisputed guardian of the posts, now watches from the fringe as unfamiliar faces draw the coach's gaze. Behind closed doors, whispers of a summer exit circulated like clandestine telegrams, with Barcelona cast in the role of would-be seller and Ter Stegen in the starring role of reluctant commodity. But just as the deal seemed poised to cross the finish line, the opportunity slid through the club's fingers. Solidity turned to sand, leaving both parties stranded without an exit. And so, the chapter that was supposed to close on amicable terms is stalling, teetering on the brink of an unfinished story. Then came the announcement that struck the club like a bolt of lightning. Ter Stegen would undergo surgery to fix nagging back problems. But it wasn't just the decision that stung. It was how he revealed it. In the early hours, under the glow of smartphone screens, his social media post rippled through Barca's inner circle before anyone at the club had a chance to draft its formal response. Coaches and executives woke to the news as though reading the morning paper, blindsided by the goalkeeper's eagerness to break his own story. The plan had been to issue a carefully crafted joint statement, an orchestrated ballet of words showcasing unity and transparency. Instead, Ter Stegen hit post, pulling the curtain back on internal discussions and leaving management scrambling to find their footing in public view. It was a misstep that, in the eyes of the board, revealed more than just impatience. It showed a fracture in trust that echoes through the halls of the training ground. Worse still, Ter Stegen capped off his announcement with an optimistic recovery timeline. He expected to return in 3 months. For him, the prospect of seeing daylight again without pain was a personal triumph. But for Barcelona, that self-penned deadline felt like a slap in the face. Anyone skimming the club's ledger would see that a 4-month absence would have created a salary slot large enough to bring in a replacement without breaking budget. By claiming a quicker fix, Ter Stegen unknowingly, or perhaps indifferently, closed the door on Barcelona's roster maneuverability. Graffiti, spattered on the locker room walls of Barca's front office, hinted at frustration. Too soon, too fast. It read in hushed tones. What should have been a private negotiation over medical logistics became a public pageant, with stakeholders lamenting lost opportunities and wondering why their veteran lunged ahead of a collaborative plan. Against this bruised backdrop, whispers have grown into full-blown discussions about stripping Ter Stegen of his captain's armband. According to Mundo Deportivo, both the sporting and coaching departments stand united in believing that leadership demands more than longevity. It needs harmony between the dressing room and the boardroom. A captain, they argue, is the human bridge that carries messages between players, coaches, and executives. A diplomat wearing cleats. Yet, when tension simmers beneath the surface, when a player surprises his employers and reshapes the narrative single-handedly, those vital connections fray like rope under strain. Add a looming, multi-month absence to that equation, and the picture grows even clearer in the club's mind. Now is the moment to consider fresh blood for the armband. The mere prospect of such a decision has set the fan base ablaze with debate, each side staking its claim in a contest of loyalty versus pragmatism. Now all eyes turn to Hansi Flick, the man charged with delivering the final verdict. He stands at a crossroads, bolstered by the backing of Deco and Barcelona's top brass. The coach already entrusted the captain's patch to Ronald Araujo, Frenkie de Jong, Pedri and Rafinha, stalwarts who have navigated storms of their own and earned their stripes. But the shortlist of potential successors reads like a who's who of Barca royalty. Inigo Martinez's steely resolve, Robert Lewandowski's goal-scoring charisma, Ferran Torres's electric pace, or even the teenage prodigy Lamine Yamal's fearless exuberance. Flick might also open the floor to a player's vote, giving the squad the power to choose its own compass. The tension in the air is palpable. Each name carries its own promise and pitfall. As the final whistle on this saga draws near, one question looms larger than any save or surgery. Who will hoist Barcelona's armband into a new era? The answer remains suspended on the edge of the next chapter, waiting to be written.